Actually, ever since the last 56th episode of the Zombieverse, not gonna lie, I've particularly been so curious about what the 57th episode already has in store for us. And interestingly, just like always, a few hours ago, Monsterup finally calmed our nerves a little bit with an insanely cooked 5-minute episode. Yeah, and so far now, just like I said in my previous video, a lot to be talked about has really happened actually. Yeah, I mean, the infected Speaker Titan seriously had it rough back there with the Tri-Titan, and does that mean that's the end for this guy? Where exactly did the Knight get teleported to? And most importantly, is there still hope of getting the remaining infected Titans healed anytime soon? Well, I've actually got you covered on everything you need to know about the 57th episode in this video though. But before we go on, if you know you have not subscribed to the channel yet, do well to do that now actually, so that you won't miss any of my next videos again. And having done that, let's get into the fun part of the video. Whereas the episode all started with the Trio Alliance Titans, and with the look of things, you could literally tell these guys are actually not here for play any moment from now, and of course ready to make the Plague Doctor, together with these infected mutants and titans, pay for everything they have done so far. Yeah, and just in a moment we were shown the infected titans finally getting freed from the Clock Titan's absolute time stop, and the Plague Doctor calling in the remaining infected squads, and not gonna lie, everything became even more interesting for me then. Yeah, I mean, I don't need to tell you how rough things are about to be. However, not long after the arrival of these infected mutants, the epic fight began. Now it's the Trio Alliance Titans versus the infected mutants. Who's really gonna win this one? Well, unlike the earlier clash where the G-Toilet was faced against these guys all alone, now it's a one-man, one-opponent fight. And the first 1v1 fight we were introduced to was the Clock Titan versus the infected Camera Titan, which they both started off with a very serious fist fight. However, the infected Camera Titan was somewhat able to counter one or two of these insane blows before the Clock Titan finally released a very heavy one, powerful enough to push the latter some distance away, now buying the Clock Titans some time to take care of the smaller infected mutants around. Yeah, and while some were easily split-bladed, others were completely roasted with the Clock Titans' insane core blasts. However, for some reason our Giga Chad got really carried away with these little things and forgot he's got a very dangerous enemy right behind him, one he has not yet dealt with completely. And seeing how seriously engaged the Clock Titan is now, the infected Camera Titan took the latter right from the back the moment he least expected, with his insane energy blades. And damn, for a moment I thought that was actually all for this strong one, but all thanks to the insane clock abilities. Yeah, as the Clock Titan was able to get the time completely reversed for himself, now giving him another beautiful chance to fully deal with his opponent, as he completely stopped him in time and afterward threw a more powerful blow toward the infected Titan's direction. But for some reason I got a little bit confused seeing the infected TV Titan getting knocked down from this blow instead, or maybe I don't know. But it really looks as if I seem to be the only one worried about this actually, because even the G-Toilet never seems to get bothered about what knocked his opponent down that hard, and no way he's gonna be letting this guy get away with just that anytime soon, as he delivers another heavy blow on this guy toward the side mouth area. Yeah, and this hits him really hard, not gonna lie, leaving him completely helpless on the ground. But just the moment the G-Toilet was about to deal with him seriously, the earlier invited smaller mutants once again jumped on this guy. Yeah, which now makes me understand why these smaller creepy things were brought down here in the first place. But anyways, the G-Toilet wouldn't allow these little things to stop him anytime soon and easily released his quad energy blades toward these guys. But the third completely one-sided fight between the Tri-Titan and the infected Speaker Titan wouldn't allow us to see what happens next in this fight right now actually, as we now get to see the infected Speaker diving down at the Tri-Titan and afterward releasing an insane core blast, which the Tri-Titan easily blocks with his energy blades before deciding to pull the rocks over. Yeah, I mean, something needs to be done for this guy to know he's really up against an all-out gravity king. However, after successfully blocking the core blast with one of the rocks, we saw him pulling an extra 3 more rocks, which were completely used to bully the infected Speaker Titan before deciding to send the latter flying and pinning him against a rock with the third one. And without wasting much time, the Tri-Titan dashed toward the infected Speaker Titan and made sure he got his 2 hands completely cut off instantly. But it doesn't end there, as he also made sure he got his head removed as well and burned it down with an insane core blast. Yeah, bro never wanted him back in this universe any longer, obviously. And with this level of destruction, I mean, it's actually hard to tell if we're gonna see the infected Speaker Titan again in the series. However, it's really a sad one that the infected mutants meant to rescue this guy came a little bit late though, and what they got instead was a relatively daddy treatment from the Tri-Titan. Before we now get introduced to the Speaker Woman and our chill kill speaker adrenaline guy once again, yeah, both fully ready to make the Plunger Man pay for what they actually believed to be betrayal behavior. Not knowing to them, the Plunger Man had always been on their side, but just got a little manipulated back then by the Plague Doctor. However, the bald skibidi friend wouldn't let his good friend go out of this world anytime soon, and of course he's ready to do anything right now to make sure Plunger Man is safe. Yeah, and he did not really care about sacrificing himself for him right now, but thanks to this brave and selfless move right there, he was able to convince these guys that Plunger Man is not a traitor and never deserves to be treated as one. However, the scene would now once again change to the second to last scene, where we have the seriously injured Red Drill Titan still lying down. Yeah, remember the infected camera Titan almost finished him up back then before the arrival of the Alliance members, but it seems the night was finally here for him now. And it happens to be that the latter was only worried about nothing else other than going back to his universe. Yeah, remember, he never wanted to be part of this infected universe ever since his first introduction, and now that he's been completely injured to the point of death, would the Knight finally consider his plight and send him back home? Well, so far he had really helped the Alliance to an extent. The Knight didn't actually hesitate to send the latter back home any longer. Yeah, and after taking the Genesis core back from him, he instantly made sure he got him teleported back to his universe. But for some reason, the Plague Doctor, together with the infected Speaker Man, would once again appear here. On the note of meeting the poor, bullied Red Drill Titan helplessly on the ground, however, the Knight would instead fall into the hands of these guys. And before the Knight could know what was happening, he had been completely immobilized by the infected Speaker Man's tendrils, after which the Plague Doctor reached out for his Dimension Axe together with the Genesis core the Red Drill Titan had earlier given back to him. Yeah, and with everything that transpired here, actually, I mean, one could easily tell the core was what brought the Plague Doctor right here, whereas since the Knight was also one of his biggest rivals, sending him back home would only help lessen the amount of threat he would definitely be facing in future episodes. But what home exactly was he sent to? Well, actually, the series is believed to have more than one universe. The SCP Foundation, from which the Plague Doctor and the Knight hailed, was actually believed to exist in this series, but in another universe, though. So yeah, probably anytime soon we might get to see and know more about this universe. Yes, I mean, the Knight would definitely not be forgotten just like that. However, another important thing to notice in the last scenes of the episode was the two clips of the upgraded Clock Titan's fight against the infected Camera Titan. Actually, one could tell those moves were literally not meant to get the infected Titan killed like the others, and since it's still somewhat possible to get the time reversed for the latter, yeah, we might definitely get to see the infected Camera Titan completely recover back to his normal form in the next episode. However, you all should still let me know what you feel about the 57th episode right in the comments section regardless, and while you do that, do well to check out this video on my channel to know what would have happened if the Camera Titan had been infected earlier in the series. See ya.